What's up, guys? We're back with a full slate of Major League Baseball action here on Saturday, April 5th. We're going to break down almost every MLB game tonight. We're also going to look at the final four games out there in college basketball. We're going to look at bets on the side and over-under, and make sure you're checking that pin comment throughout the day to see if there are any changes as injury news and player availability is confirmed. Yesterday, guys, looking okay, not amazing. A couple of weird letdown spots. The Thunder -7, they really didn't show up there against the Houston Rockets. We also have the Cavaliers -14. They didn't show up either. Played really poorly in the second half there against the Spurs. We do have the Clippers -8.5. They're looking good. And the Celtics, they were a big win for us. Almost a full-on big bet play. I'm not going to quite take credit for that, but that was our favorite play of the day because of Boston's amazing trends when they're coming off a loss. They end up winning by, I think it was 20 points exactly there, so easily covering that 14.5. So a 2-2 day, obviously not exactly what we were after, but our premium members had a great day over there on Major League Baseball. Our premium MLB capper, who is not me, had the Yankees as a 5-unit play. That one cashed. The Cardinals as a 3-unit play. That was a loss. The Diamondbacks as another 5-unit play, though. That one cashed as well. And the Athletics as a regular 3-unit play. That was a winner. The Guardians, another 3-unit play. That one is still going on. But regardless, a nice, profitable day there for the premium members in the MLB side over there at stumpthespread.com. Slam that like button. It's free. It helps me a ton and shows your appreciation for the free information every single day. Think of it as tipping, but here it's absolutely free. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. That will help keep you from missing our daily videos. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today or any other feedback you have for me, and I will personally respond. Quick reminder, all of our videos are sponsored by stumpthespread.com. Click the link down in the description to go over there and see the top confidence picks from our entire team of experienced cappers. Right now, our premium members are getting daily college basketball, NBA, NHL, and UFC picks. In Major League Baseball, our most profitable sport the last 3 years running, is off to a great start to the year. At stumpthespread.com, you'll have access to exclusive free picks, free-to-use bet size calculators, and our premium top confidence picks, which might not and probably will not, to be honest, always match what you see here in the video. These YouTube video picks get posted much earlier, much more research and stuff like that goes on, and the MLB picks are done by somebody who is not me, so we're going to be looking at different stuff every single day. He is a far better MLB capper than me. There's no debate about that. Also, guys, you need to get over there and sign up for our free email newsletter, which will get you free picks straight to your inbox every day and updates on results. Just make sure to check your spam folder. If you're a huge fan of what we do here every single day, you can sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Channel members get exclusive early access to all of my videos and get their names up on screen in every video, but more importantly, you get access to our monthly members-only giveaways. We'll be giving away a Stump the Spread hoodie to one random channel member in early April. If we get up to 80 channel members, we'll do 2 giveaways this month. As always, guys, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Chicago White Sox going on the road to take on the Detroit Tigers. White Sox coming into this game, no major shock, guys. Fresh off of a loss in game 1 of the series. They lost 7-4 in game 1 there at Detroit. Green hit the third home run of the game there for Detroit. So, yeah, not a great outing there for the White Sox, who are 2-5 on the season. And I don't know if I see their record getting much better over the course of the year, because this looks like another year where the White Sox are probably going to be historically bad. They've now dropped 3 in a row, and it's not exactly turning around anytime quick. They're handing the ball to Davis Martin. He's making his second start of the year. His first one went really well, to be honest. I mean, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs. Neither one of them were earned. 2 walks and 2 strikeouts against the Angels. So not against the toughest opponent. It was a 3-2 loss there for the White Sox. So I mean, it's not time to really freak out about this team or about this starter. I think he's going to be fine. I don't think he's going to be anything amazing, though. So definitely plenty to work on still for Chicago. I'm expecting their bullpen to be relatively weak again this year. I know nobody's going to be shocked by that. And the offense, well, it's off to a better start than what we saw from them last season. They're still all the way down in the bottom half of the league in most of the major hitting categories, and they're all the way down to 24th in the MLB in on-base percentage. Not a great sign for what they're going to look like here in the future. So we'll see what they can do here in game 2 against Detroit. The Tigers, 3-4 on the season. Got swept by the Dodgers to start the year, which that's a pretty tough draw to end up playing the Dodgers in your first series of the season. But that's going to happen. Got to happen to somebody, and it happened to the Tigers. 3-4 on the season isn't the end of the world. They won their series against the Mariners, and they're off to a good start to their series here against the White Sox. Carpenter hit 2 homers twice. Flaherty gets the win in that one, and as already discussed, Green hit a home run in that game. So a lot of positives for the Tigers. They're handing the ball in this one to Reese Olson, who's looking to build off a pretty decent campaign last season, although not off to his best start, guys. He did get victimized there by the Dodgers. 4 and 2/3 innings, gave up 4 hits, 4 earned runs, a home run. He did strike out 5 and walk 2. Against the Dodgers, I'm not going to say that's a complete disaster outing, but obviously you're hoping for a little bit better. This is still a young guy. He's got time. He's got things to work on. He's not a giant out there either. He's kind of a little guy, 6'1", 160 pounds. At least that's what he's listed as. That might not be 100% accurate, but we expect good stuff from him over the course of the season. How will he hold up to an entire grueling MLB season this time around? We'll see, but he's got to feel pretty great about the fact he gets to go up against the White Sox in this one. The Tigers' bullpen shouldn't be horrible. I'm expecting pretty good things from them this season in general. I don't know. A lot of bullpen stuff still very up in the air at this early in the year. So we'll see how that goes. And their offense, off to a pretty good start. Top 10-ish in most of the major categories. I don't expect that to be the case for the entire year, but they'll take it here in the early goings. Look at the numbers, guys. You see the Tigers are minus 225. The White Sox are plus 180. We've got a total of 7.5 in this game. The White Sox, guys, 0-1 on the road, 4-2-1 to the over. Detroit, 1-0 at home. 5-2 to the over themselves. So not, super big numbers that we can, rely on a lot. If you look at the spread in this game, guys, if you wanted to take the Tigers at minus 1.5, you can get them at around plus 100. And well, I don't know if that's something I'm willing to put into the pinned comment. I do like Reese Olson a good amount. I think it has a chance to end up in the pinned comment, to be honest, but this isn't a game that really is going to go in the pinned comment necessarily. So let's go ahead and move on. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Houston Astros going on the road to take on the Minnesota Twins. The Astros got the win in Game 1 of this series, 5-2. Walker and Pena both hit home runs. Rogers drove in 3. Yeah, that was a home opener there for the Twins, and it did not go their way. 3-4 on the season is honestly, at least feels like a better start than the Astros had at the beginning of the year last year. I don't know exactly what their record was through their first 7 games, but I know they had a horrible time at the beginning of the season in general, but they're turning things around a little bit. They're hitting the ball in this one to Spencer Arrighetti, who got off to a great start to his season. A very good sign for this young 25-year-old. 1-0 on the season, a 1.50 ERA. He had a dominant outing there against the New York Mets. 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, walked 2, struck out 5. A solid performance in a 2-1 win there for the Houston Astros. So very, very good stuff. Expecting decent things from the Astros bullpen this season, but like I said, we're not freaking out too much either way about anybody's bullpen until we get, I would say, 10, 15-ish at least games into the season. So we'll see what actually happens with the Astros bullpen. Their offense didn't have the worst season overall, but they were a weird one to figure out. They had one of the best team batting averages all year long, but other than that, their batting numbers were pretty much crap over the course of the entire year, and right now they're not off to the best start. They're actually been one of the worst offenses in Major League Baseball so far. Jose Altuve's hot start has kind of cooled off, so we'll see if they can get back on track here against the Twins, who are only 2-5 on the year. 2 out of those 3 wins are actually both their wins came against the Chicago White Sox, so that's not a great look. Minnesota, definitely not a team off to a hot start here, and they're looking to bounce back from yet another loss. They're handing the ball to Bailey Ober, who got off to a horrendous start to his season. Bro is 0-1 with a 27 ERA after getting absolutely shellacked by the St. Louis Cardinals. He went 2 2/3 innings, gave up 8 hits, 8 earned runs, 2 home runs, walked 3, and struck out 3. So in a huge bounce back spot for a pitcher who had a great year last season, but not the best start to this season. So we'll see if he can turn things around. Obviously, it's certainly a possibility here. The Twins bullpen, we don't expect to necessarily be a disaster. The offense, disaster is pretty much the right word, guys. They are dead last in the MLB in on-base percentage. They are third to last in batting average. Like, nobody is coming out of the gates hitting the ball particularly well. I guess Harrison Bader does have 3 home runs and 8 RBIs, so yeah, that's nice. But other than that, not a lot of positives to point to right here for the Minnesota Twins. But the odds makers don't care. The Twins are minus 120. The Astros are plus 108. We've got a total of 7.5 here. Houston 1-0 on the road, 4-2-1 to the under. Minnesota 0-1 at home, 4-1-2 to the over. The odds makers are banking on a huge bounce back here from Bailey Ober. And while I don't think that's impossible, I'm going to be on the Astros here at plus 108. I'm loving what we're seeing from Spencer Arrighetti. He's off to a great start to the season. I'm going to be on the Astros plus 108 here. Maybe not in the biggest of ways, but I definitely think there's some value there. No doubt about that. And you could definitely talk me into the under here if you do think Ober is going to have a bounce back game, because the Twins, guys, have been so bad at the plate. I just don't think there's any chance that Arrighetti really has a terrible outing. Like, maybe I just jinxed it by saying that, but I'm definitely going to be on the Astros here at plus 108, and I wouldn't fight anyone who said they wanted to take the under. Next up, guys, we're looking at the San Diego Padres going on the road to take on the Chicago Cubs. The Padres took the 3-1 loss in Game 1 of this series there at Wrigley Field, snapping their 7-game winning streak to start the year. Obviously, Padres fans probably not too upset about winning their first 7 games in a row. Sweeping the Braves in a 4-game series and then sweeping the Guardians, pretty solid stuff for a Padres team that, I'll be honest, I feel like underachieved, especially in the regular, just in kind of in general, underachieved last year. So we'll see what they can do here, hitting the ball to Nick Pivetta, who got off to a dazzling start to his year. He was part of that sweep there of the Atlanta Braves. Bro went 7 innings, gave only a single hit, struck out 4, walked 0, gave up no runs. A dominant performance, guys. Loved what we saw from Nick Pivetta. Can the 32-year-old back that up? Well, we'll see, but he came out of the gates looking fantastic against the Atlanta Braves, not a team that maybe got off to the best start there, but regardless, loving what we're seeing from Pivetta. Don't expect this Padres bullpen to be a problem this season. Loving what we're seeing from guys like Fernando Tatis, who's batting .433 to start the year. Jackson Merrill off to an amazing start. This is a top 2 to top 5 kind of offense at the moment, and I expect them to be one of the better offenses out there in Major League Baseball this season. So the Cubs could have their hands full. They're not off to a bad start. Don't get me wrong. Splitting a 2-game series there against the Diamondbacks, sweeping the Athletics, and then getting a win here in Game 1 against the Padres. Imanaga looked very, very good out there, no doubt about that. So that's certainly helpful. What kind of start will they get from Matthew Boyd? Well, they would probably expect it to be a pretty good start because Bro is off to a great start to his season. Having 5 scoreless innings there against the Arizona Diamondbacks is no small feat. He went 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, no runs. He did walk 3 and struck out 5. But you got to be careful with some of those Arizona Diamondbacks hitters. It can be a little bit tough out there. The Cubs bullpen, we'll see what they're like down the stretch this year. Like I said, we're not jumping to any conclusions about bullpens yet. We're biding our time a little bit, but we're liking what we're seeing from the Cubs. Generally speaking, the offense off to an amazing start in terms of runs scored. They are the top run scoring team in the MLB so far, and they're top 10 in all the other categories. So it's looking good. I don't expect this to be the best offense in the major leagues this year. I don't think that's going to happen, but right now they're swinging the bats well, so we'll give them credit where credit is due. The odds makers certainly giving them credit here, guys. The Cubs are minus 120 in this game. The Padres are plus 100. We've got a total of 7 out there. Padres 0-1 on the road, 5-2-1 to the under. Chicago 1-0 at home, 6-3-1 to the over. I'm not really interested in that total of 7, but I am interested in taking the Padres at plus 100 to bounce back from that loss. I have no problem here with Nick Pivetta going up against this Cubs offense. I think that's going to be fine. Matthew Boyd, he did okay against the Diamondbacks, but this is another very, very tough club, and I think he could struggle a little bit here, so definitely a good spot, in my mind, to take the San Diego Padres. Speaking of the Arizona Diamondbacks, guys, they're going on the road to take on the Washington Nationals. The Diamondbacks 5-3 to start the year. Very good stuff. They split their 4-game series there against the Cubs. Won 2 out of 3 there at the Yankees. Now they're headed to the Nationals, and they did a great job in Game 1, winning 6-4. Carroll hit 2 home runs. Gerchik had a tie-breaking double, and yeah, they come away with the win. So very, very good stuff there. They're handing the ball in this one to Eduardo Rodriguez, who didn't get off to the best start to his season. He was saved from taking the loss, but he wasn't horrible out there, I suppose. Giving up 3 earned runs over 5 1/3 innings isn't the end of the world. Obviously, you don't want to see the dude end the year with a 5.06 ERA, but maybe for the Diamondbacks, that would be playable because that offense gives you lots of runs like they gave to him in that 10 runs of support he got there against the Chicago Cubs. So not hating what we've seen from him, not despising what we've seen from the bullpen so far for the Diamondbacks, although a work in progress like everybody's bullpen right now. The offense off to a very, very solid start. Kind of what we expect to see from them all season long, guys. Suarez, 5 home runs already, 11 RBIs. This team is tied for 3rd in runs scored. They're a top 5 to top 8 team in every major hitting category, and I don't think we're going to see them go anywhere but up out there in terms of their offense. I think that's going to be great. Obviously, Marte having that hammy injury. Probably going to end up on the IL. That's not great, but not a lot of negatives right now for the Diamondbacks, who go on the road to take on the Nationals, who are off to a horrible start. I expect this team to be bad. Not quite 1-6 bad. So we'll see if they can turn things around at some point here soon. It's been a bit rough. They're handing the ball to Mitchell Parker, hoping he can turn things around. And Bro is the reason they have a win this season, pretty much. He's 1-0 on the season, a 0 ERA. He did a great job against the Philadelphia Phillies of all teams. 6 1/3 innings, 7 hits, no runs allowed, struck out 5 and walked 2. So very respectable stuff there. Now, he's got to go up against the Diamondbacks here. We'll see. He's a young guy, 25 years old, a big, tall left-hander. He's got some pretty wicked stuff, but now you got to take on the Diamondbacks. This is not going to be a walk in the park, and we also don't necessarily love that Washington Nationals bullpen. I'm telling you, we're not trying to overreact or even react at all to the bullpens right now, but I don't know. A little bit nervous there for the Nationals once Parker comes out of the game. So we'll see what happens there. The kind of run support that you can expect, I don't think it's going to be too great, guys. They're in the bottom 3rd of the majors in pretty much every major category. They are going up against a guy that didn't have a great first outing, so we'll see how that goes. The odds makers have the Nationals at plus 115, the Diamondbacks at minus 135. We've got a total of 8.5 or 9 out there. Arizona 2-1 on the road, 5-2-1 to the over. Washington 1-3 at home, 4-3 to the under. I wouldn't be upset at anybody that wanted to take over 8.5. Get the Diamondbacks out there. The over is certainly live. I also think I would rather be on Arizona here at minus 135 than the Nationals at plus only 115. I know Mitchell Parker is off to a great start to this season, but I'm going to side with the Diamondbacks, those hot bats, and a decent starting pitcher. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Los Angeles Dodgers going on the road to take on the Philadelphia Phillies. The Dodgers did just take their first loss of the year, and some base path blunders there, not really super helpful. So yeah, not great there, but 8-1 on the season, not too bad of a start, even when you have an insane payroll. And it was a 3-2 loss, so a very, very close game there against a very good Philadelphia Phillies team. So they're looking to bounce back here. We'll see what they can do here. Hitting the ball to Roki Sasaki. He comes into this game, no result there in his couple starts. He's had some good outings, he's had some bad outings, and I would say the first two, going up against the Cubs and the Tigers, haven't necessarily looked amazing. He gave up only 1 earned run in 3 innings, but walked 5 there against the Cubs, and then followed that up with not the best outing there against Detroit either. He went 2 2/3 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, walked 4, and struck out 2. So Bro needs to figure out the strike zone a little bit, and just in general needs to just figure out how to stay in the game a little bit longer. But we'll see what happens. He's a young guy, super young guy. He's got some time to figure it out here, and the Dodgers didn't lose either one of those games, just for the record. So we'll see what he can do out there. The Dodgers bullpen, obviously very serviceable. Offense, off to a great start. Tommy Edman, actually, seeing an ex-Cardinal do that as a lifelong Cardinals fan feels pretty gross. Bro's hit 5 home runs and 9 RBIs already, and the Cardinals didn't want to keep him around. The Dodgers are going to be an insane offensive team. They're going to be one of the absolute best teams in the majors this season, no doubt about that. They're taking on a team that has the ability to challenge them in the Phillies, who have now won 4 in a row. 3 of those wins were against the Colorado Rockies, so let's not freak out too much, but they're going to be happy with what's going on here. They're handing the ball to Aaron Nola, who's 0-1 on the season, not having a great time against Washington his first time out. That was a 5-1 loss there. That was that Mitchell Parker game, and we saw him, gave up 6 hits, 5 earned runs, and 2 home runs. He did strike out 8, so that's something positive. He's got some pretty good stuff still at 31, it would appear, but that 8.44 ERA is going to have to get a little bit better. And now he's going against the Dodgers. That does not make life that much easier. So we'll see what happens here. The Phillies bullpen has looked pretty good in the early goings, no doubt about that. The offense has also looked excellent. They're the top on-base percentage team in the MLB, the top batting average team. They are top 2 in slugging percentage and top 8 in runs scored. So no negatives to point out right now for this Phillies offense, guys. It's looking very, very, very good. And looking at the numbers here, the Phillies are favored. They're minus 115. The Dodgers are minus 105. We've got a total of 8.5. The Dodgers 0-1 on the road, 5-4 to the over. The Phillies 4-0 at home, 5-2 to the under. So in terms of a side in this game, I'm going to be leaning towards the Phillies. I'm not loving what we're seeing from this young guy out there from the Dodgers, but I'm not necessarily loving what I'm seeing from Aaron Nola either. So my biggest lean in this game is actually going to be over 8.5. You don't want to get too wrapped up in overs here in the early season. That's certainly true, but I think this is a spot we're going to see plenty of offense from these two teams that have been playing a weird amount of low-scoring games, if I'm being honest, especially for the Phillies. And I think we see plenty of offense in this one. A game that I see probably ending up somewhere in the 6-5 kind of range instead of the 3-2 range. Rolling right along, we're looking at the New York Yankees going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Yankees fresh off a 9-4 win there at Pittsburgh, so that's got to be feeling pretty good. Judge, killing it, guys. Judge just off to a good start to the season for once. Batting .380 on the season, 6 home runs already, 17 RBIs. This whole thing is crazy, guys. The Yankees looking like a powerhouse, especially Judge. So good stuff there, certainly. 5-2 to start the year, nothing wrong with that. They're giving the ball to Marcus Stroman here, who didn't have the best start to his year, taking on the Brewers. He gave up 3 earned runs over 4 2/3 innings, gave up 5 hits, a home run, struck out 3, and walked 1. So not a disaster. We did see the Yankees eventually win that game 12-3, just obliterating their opponent, putting up tons of offense. So we'll see if Stroman gets that kind of support in this game. We'll see if their bullpen can hold together. That's been a little bit all over the place for pretty much everyone in the major leagues this season. So we'll see what the Yankees can do here against the Pirates, who are only 2-6 on the year. Not up to the best start, losing 3 out of 4 there against the Marlins, then losing 2 out of 3 against the Rays. Now you got to face the Yankees. It's not getting easier. They're giving the ball to Bailey Falter, who's off to a good start. He had a very solid start there against the Marlins. Not amazing. He did give up 7 hits and 2 earned runs over his 6 innings, but nothing too unplayable. Struck out 4, walked 0. So we'll see if he can back that up against just a little bit tougher of opponent in the New York Yankees. The Pirates offense has definitely not been too helpful. They're the bottom 4 or 5 teams in the MLB in most of the major categories. So That is a big issue, and nobody's off to a particularly hot start. So it's no major shock to see the Pirates at plus 130, the Yankees at minus 150. We've got a total of 9. The Yankees 1-0 on the road, 5-2 to the over. The Pirates 0-1 at home and 5-3 to the under. This is just too good of a price to really not think about taking the Yankees. I think this should be more like minus 180 instead of minus 150. And when you're showing that kind of value, I think you'd be a little bit crazy, even with Bailey Falter on the mound, to not just go ahead and run it back. Go ahead and take the Yankees. I think the Yankees are a very, very solid play in this spot. I know it's a little bit of a chalky play at minus 150, but I think there's value to be found. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the St. Louis Cardinals going on the road to take on the Boston Red Sox. The Cardinals came up short there in Game 1 at Fenway in the game that sunk our chance at a perfect day there on the premium side. Our guy was just on fire, looking very, very likely that he's going to go 4-1. So a monster with a couple of max unit plays mixed in there too. So monster stuff there. But the Cardinals did let us down. Devers and Bregman, guys, looked very, very good in Fenway. So what are you going to do? Cardinals 4-3 on the season. They got off to a great start there against the struggling Twins, but then lost 2 out of 3 against the Angels. And suddenly the Cardinals look like kind of who we thought they were going to be. They're handing the ball in this one to Andre Palante, who's 1-0 on the season, a 3.60 ERA. He was part of that sweep there. The Twins, he looked good. 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs. He did give up a home run, walked 2 and struck out 3. So I'm not going to say Bro had dominating stuff out there. He did all right. The Cardinals bullpen in general, I mean, we're not going to freak out too much about, early season bullpen stuff, but we're not hating what we're seeing necessarily, but we'll see. There's no reason to jump to any conclusions as of yet. The offense, on the other hand, I mean, Lars Nootbaar is on fire to start the year. We've seen Herrera do some very good stuff. They're 5th in the MLB in runs scored, 3rd in batting average, 2nd in on-base percentage. So a lot of good numbers, but we'll see if those good numbers continue to happen here as they go up against the Boston Red Sox, who 4-4 on the season. They've won their last 3 in a row, winning the last 2 there at Baltimore and then winning Game 1 at Fenway. So they've got to feel good about that. They're handing the ball to maybe the guy with the best name, the best starting pitcher's name in Major League Baseball, in Richard Fitz. Yeah, that's a great name. He's 0-1 on the season, a 4.50 ERA. He got off to a mediocre start there against the Rangers. I mean, 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs. That looks okay, but when you gave up 2 home runs in there, walked 0, struck out 4, not a disaster start, but also I don't think you're really lighting the world on fire, bro. So we'll see what he can do in this one. He's a young right-hander. He's, a big guy. We'll see. He's got good stuff. I'm expecting him to have a decent time against the Cardinals, but maybe not amazing. The Cardinals are a pretty good offensive team, at least here in the early going. So we'll see if Richard Fitz has a very good outing. The Red Sox offense in general has looked pretty good. Not necessarily amazing, not lighting the world on fire, but above average. They'll definitely take that, and they're obviously coming off a 13-run game. So these were 13, 8, and 3 runs over their last 3 games. Not a whole lot to complain about there. The Red Sox are favorites in this game. Guys, they're minus 125. The Cardinals are plus 105. We've got a total out there of 9. The Cardinals 0-1 on the road, 6-1 to the over. Boston 1-0 at home, 5-3 to the under. I think this is a reasonable spot to take the over in this game. I don't think it's necessarily an amazing play. It's not going anywhere near the pinned comment, and neither is the side on this one. I feel like this is a bit coin flippy. I'll be leaning just slightly towards the Cardinals, possibly. I do like Andre Palante somewhat, but not enough to put this anywhere near the pinned comment. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Baltimore Orioles going on the road to take on the Kansas City Royals. The Orioles 3-5 to start the year. They've lost their last 3 in a row, so things not really headed the direction they were hoping they would head this season. Obviously, this is a team that's got a lot of talent on the roster, a lot of power hitting, but how is the pitching going to look? They're handing the ball in this one to Tomoyuki Sugano. He comes into this game 0-1 on the season, a 4.50 ERA. Didn't have the best time there against Toronto, but it wasn't a disaster either. We did see Baltimore eventually lose that game 3-1, but 4 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs. In the early goings, I'm not going to expect miracles necessarily. I mean, this is a veteran pitcher out of Japan, so we'll see what he can do. See if he can get onto a better track. The Orioles bullpen, not necessarily looking amazing here in the early goings, and the offense it's doing what it's supposed to do. I mean, they're top 6 in runs scored. They're top 6 in basically every major category. They're a good offensive team. They got to come up with some pitching, though. So we'll see what they can do here on the road against the Kansas City Royals, who did get the 8-2 win in their first game at home, and the first game of the series, which they got to play at home. And the Royals have to feel pretty good about that. A 3-4 start isn't amazing, but they are tied for the top spot in the AL Central. So what are you going to do? It's not a worse start than anybody else in the AL Central is having. They're giving the ball to Michael Wacha, who, despite a very good first start to his year, is 0-1. He went 4 innings, gave up 4 hits, 1 earned run, walked 4, and struck out 2. So control issues in the early goings for Michael Wacha. is not necessarily anything to be too shocked about, but you would like to see him have a little bit better start to the year. Obviously, the Royals, their bullpen, I'm expecting to be decent, but like I said, not going to overreact to that. Their offense spluttering a little bit out of the gate, but I expect that to kind of figure itself out as well. The odds makers have the Royals as the slight favorites in what feels like a very coin flippy game. The Royals are minus 115, the Orioles are minus 105. We've got a total of 8. Baltimore 2-2 on the road, 6-2 to the over. Kansas City 1-2 at home and 4-3 to the over. So with a total there out there of only 8, I can wrap my head around over 8, especially with a team that's due to hit the ball well and a team that is hitting the ball well. I don't think that's out of the question. So my biggest lean on this game is going to be the over, but not really much of a lean on the side. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Tampa Bay Rays going on the road to take on the Texas Rangers. The Rays 4-3 to start the year, but they have lost 2 in a row, including the first game of this series there in Texas. Yeah, I mean, that was a little bit rough, guys. A 5-2 loss. It's not the end of the world, obviously, but not exactly what you're looking for. They're hoping they can get a bounce back here from Taj, out of Taj Bradley, who's 1-0 on the season, a 3.0 ERA. He had a good start. It was against the Colorado Rockies, though, so we're not going to overreact too much. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, and 7 strikeouts and 0 walks against the Rockies. Well, it looks good on paper, goes in the stats with everything else. We're going up against the Rockies, they are pretty bad. So we'll see what he can do out there against a significantly better offensive team. In general, the Rays have looked pretty good overall. I'm not going to be complaining too much about a 4-3 start to the year, although you did play the Rockies and the Pirates, so maybe you should have done a little bit more. The offense looking about average, maybe slightly above, but it's not time to freak out right now about the Tampa Bay Rays. They're going on the road to take on the Texas Rangers, who are off to a very good start, guys. They won 3 out of 4 against the Red Sox, 2 out of 3 against the Reds. They won the first game of this series against the Rays, and they've got some reason for optimism, guys. They're hitting the ball to Jacob deGrom in this game, who got off to an insane start to his year. 5 innings, 2 hits, no runs allowed, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts there against Boston in a 3-2 win there for the Texas Rangers. The whole idea of holding this dude out last season for the entire year, not rushing him back or anything like that, is for him to come back and look like this. And that's what they're getting. So if he can have this kind of season, all of a sudden the Rangers are looking like a much scarier team. So we'll see what happens. They've got to be pumped about him. I don't think they're too upset about what their bullpen has done here in their early goings. And the offense, it hasn't been great. It's been kind of actually bad. So we'll see what happens if the offense can turn things back around. You're not wanting to be 26th in the majors in runs scored or 25th in batting average. So they've got a chance to turn this around. They've got some bats out there. I think they'll be okay. Are they going to be amazing? We'll see, guys. Looking at the numbers, the Rays are plus 150. The Rangers are minus 180. We've got a total of 7.5. Tampa Bay going to be 0-1 on the road. They are 6-1 to the under. The Rangers 3-1 to the 3-1 at home, 7-1 to the under. It's the early season, guys. We've got 2 very good pitchers out there on the mound. We've got at least 1.5 struggling offenses. I'm slamming it here on under 7.5. I think it's a very good play. It's got a great chance to end up in the pinned comment. I mean, this is not a game we're going to see a lot of offense, at least from the starting pitcher. So maybe you could take this one. This would be a great no-run first inning game. This would also be a very reasonable under in the first 5 innings. That would be a good bet as well. So yeah, definitely a couple interesting unders to look at in this one. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Toronto Blue Jays going on the road to take on the New York Mets. The Blue Jays come into this game fresh off a loss there at the Mets, so probably a little bit disappointed in what happened in Game 1. Juan Soto obviously getting a huge welcome there to the Mets, but yeah, not a great look for the Blue Jays. They're 5-3 to start the year. A good series there against the Orioles where they split a 4-game series, but sweeping the Nationals might not end up looking that impressive here as we move on. But we'll see what they can do here. Giving the ball to their veteran, Chris Bassett. He's 1-0 with a 1.50 ERA. He gave up 8 hits in 6 innings against the Orioles, but hardly let them get on the scoreboard. He gave up 1 earned run, struck out 7, and walked 2. So very good stuff. We'll see if we can keep that rolling. We'll see if the Blue Jays bats can continue to be, top 10. Very easily in the top 10 in all the major categories. Is that going to continue? I think that's very unlikely. But we'll see what happens here as they go up against the Mets, who are 4-3 to start the year. Haven't had the roughest opponents. We'll see what they can do here, giving the ball to Griffin Canning, who's 0-1 on the season, a 3.18 ERA. Not the best start there against Houston. 5 2/3 innings looks good. 4 hits, 2 earned runs, and a home run, while walking 2 and striking out 4. Doesn't look like you're lighting the world on fire. So we'll see if he can kind of turn things around just a little bit. I'm expecting him to be decent this year. Will the Mets bullpen be decent this year? Will it be all over the place like last season? We'll have to wait and see. Their offense, guys, Pete Alonso leading the way, getting off to a pretty hot start, but they've been middle of the road to bad offense so far. Looking at the numbers, the Blue Jays plus 105, the Mets minus 125. We've got a total of 7.5. Toronto 0-1 on the road, 5-3 to the under. The Mets 1-0 at home, 5-2 to the under. Am I really willing to take the under in this one? Seems a little bit unlikely to me. I'm also not in love with taking either side in this game, to be honest. So maybe just a little taste out there of taking the Toronto Blue Jays at plus 105 with Bassett on the mound, but really this is mostly a stay away spot for me. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Cincinnati Reds going on the road to take on the Milwaukee Brewers in an NL Central showdown. The Reds only 2-6 to start the year. They're struggling, guys. They had a 35-inning scoreless streak. That's not great. They snapped that streak, but still lost 3-2 in Game 2 against the Brewers. They lost in Game 1 of this series, 1-0. It's been brutal out there for the Reds. They're handing the ball to Brady Singer in this one, who's off to a great start. He dominated the Rangers 7 innings, 1 hit, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, no runs allowed. So you got to be pumped about that, but man, you're not getting any run support if you're a Reds pitcher right now, and that's got to be very, very demoralizing. Elly De La Cruz, his batting average was crazy. It has dropped all the way down to 250, and he's the leading batting average guy on the team. That is astounding, to be honest. They're 28th in the majors in on-base percentage, 23rd in batting average, batting under 200 as a squad. They are 15th in runs scored, so I guess we'll give them some kind of credit there, maybe. But yeah, it's looking really, really brutal out there for the Cincinnati Reds at the plate. So we'll see what they can do here against the Brewers, who have won 4 in a row after starting their season off 0-4. So they're back to 4-4. They're giving the ball to Elvin Rodriguez, who didn't get off to a great start. He got kind of shellacked there by the Royals. 4 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, a home run. That's not exactly what they were hoping for out of him. We'll see if they can get a better start out of him in this one. The offense has been decent. I would say right around average. So room for improvement across the board right here for the Brewers. They have not gotten off to the start they would have imagined, getting swept by the Yankees right out of the gate and just getting absolutely obliterated in those games, to be honest. Probably doesn't feel too good. The Brewers are minus 105 in this game. The Reds are minus 112. We've got a total of 8. The Reds 0-1 on the road, 5-3 to the under. Milwaukee 3-1 at home and 5-3 to the under as well. These two teams have not been scoring runs, guys. I think under 8 is very live in this game, and it's always a good idea to be playing some unders in the early going. So go ahead and give me under 8 in this one. Maybe a little look at the Reds, but really not a big lean on the side in this one. Definitely think the under is the play. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Miami Marlins going on the road to take on the Atlanta Braves. The Marlins actually 4-4 here on the year. They did lose Game 1 of this series at the Braves 10-0, so that probably doesn't feel great. They could not even get a bat on the ball there against Schwellenbach. That was pretty rough, but yeah, the Marlins not having a great time in that one, but in general have gotten off to a reasonable start to the season for a team I don't expect to be very good. They're hitting the ball in this one to Cal Quantrill, who's 0-1 on the year. Not a great outing there against the Mets, giving up 6 earned runs on 8 hits, including 2 home runs and 2 strikeouts and only 4 innings of work. So he's in a bounce back spot. Somebody who had a decent season last year, but not looking so hot right now. So we'll see how that goes. See if the Marlins bullpen can hold together. See if the offense can recapture some of the magic they had there in the early goings. But this wasn't a team that was putting up big numbers. They were just winning they won a lot of one-run games. I mean, they've won, 4 games this season? 3 of them were one-run games, or 2 of them were one-run, no, 3 of them were one-run games, and 1 was a 2-run game. So we'll see what happens there. Not a great offensive team in general, and I'm not expecting big things from the Marlins this season. They're going on the road to take on the Braves, who are now 1-7 on the year. They got swept by the Padres in a 4-game series. They got swept in a 3-game series there against the Dodgers. It was looking pretty rough, guys. It seems like they're figuring things out now. We'll see what they can do handing the ball in this one to AJ Smith-Shawver. He's 0-1 on the year with a 4.50 ERA. He had an okay, but definitely not great start there against the Padres. I mean, 4 innings, 6 hits, but only 2 earned runs. Not the end of the world. He struck out 4 and walked 3. The Miami Marlins are not the same team. They're not the same team, guys. We're going to see a much better outing from him. I think we'll see the Braves bullpen look good. I think we'll see these bats continue to come alive. They're currently one of the worst 1 or 2 offenses out there in the majors. That's not going to continue. They put up a 10 spot their last time out. This is the start of good things for the Braves, who are massive 225 favorites. The Marlins are plus 185. We've got a total of 8. Miami 0-1 on the road, 5-3 to the over. Atlanta 1-0 at home, 4-3-1 to the under. I would say if you're wanting to play a side on this game, guys, you probably want to be looking towards the run line there on the Atlanta Braves, which if you take that, guys, take the Braves minus 1.5, you can get this game at a very, very reasonable plus 100. This honestly has a chance. I do like what we're seeing from the Atlanta Braves. I think they're turning things around very aggressively here. They've been more than due for it. So go ahead and give me Atlanta here, minus 1.5. Could this go in the pin comment? I'd say it's got a chance. Now, guys, hopping over to look at the 2 games we have left in the NCAA tournament, the Final Four here. First up, we've got the Florida Gators taking on the Auburn Tigers. Kind of crazy to see 4 number 1 teams make it here to the Final Four, but maybe that's what we're looking at here in the NIL era of the NCAA basketball tournament, but we'll see what happens, guys. The Gators obviously have been one of the best teams out there all season long. I mean, they blew out Norfolk State in round 1. They took down UConn in a nail-biter in round 2. They destroyed Maryland in round 3. And then to make it here to the Final Four, they beat Texas Tech in a very close 84-79 game. So pretty cool stuff there. A crazy comeback. Walter Clayton Jr. making some crazy late game threes there, putting up a 30 spot. Early on this game, it was looking like the Gators had no shot there against the elite, very solid defense there of Texas Tech, but they made it happen at the end, end up shooting, 9 of 24 from 3. They did get to the line a staggering 27 times. I'm not going to say the fix was in. If you were watching that game, guys, it was very, very clear that Texas Tech was by far the more physical team. So it makes sense that the Gators would shoot more free throws. More than double, that seems a little bit crazy to me. We did see Florida have an edge there on the boards. That's helpful. And they get to take on a team they have some history against in this matchup. So that's going to be a pretty interesting dynamic to navigate here. I mean, they have only played Auburn once this season. They went to Auburn and ended up coming away with a 9-point win. So pretty good stuff there. Pretty impressive to already have a win over the number 1 team in the country. So Florida will definitely take it. They played their game, did what you expect them to do. Just shot the ball better than Auburn in that game, if we're being honest. Like, that was pretty much the big difference maker. So we'll see if they can do that again here against the Tigers. Auburn, not the toughest road to the Final Four, I won't say. I mean, they took down Alabama State in the opening round by 20. Then they went by 12 against Creighton in a game that was fairly competitive, but nothing too crazy. They played a tough one against, or what might have been a tough one against Michigan, but eventually won 78-65. And then to make it to the Final Four, a nail-biter, a 70-64 win there over number 2 Michigan State. We saw Johnny Broome come back from injury. He played really well in that game. 25 points, 10 of 13 from the field. Much better numbers than we've seen him put up, generally speaking, here down the stretch. So we'll see if he can continue his hot shooting. Auburn shot the ball really poorly from the free throw line and from the field in general. So clearly they were struggling there with the defense of Michigan State. Now, can Florida play that same kind of defense? Seems like a big ask to me, but the Tigers are going to have to get something from somebody besides Johnny Broome, because is he going to put up 25 points in this game on insanely efficient shooting? Seems kind of unlikely. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, Auburn getting 2.5 points. We've got a total of 159.5. Florida 27-11 against the spread, 9-3 against the spread on a neutral court this season, and 21-17 to the over. Auburn 20-16-1 against the spread, 8-4 against the spread on neutral courts, and 21-16 to the over themselves. I don't think over 159.5 is crazy in this game, guys, but my main lean here, I think it's going to be the Florida Gators. I think they win this game by at least 3 points. I don't think that's too crazy. I don't have a whole lot of faith in what I'm seeing from Auburn down the stretch. Obviously, Florida already has some positive history with this team, albeit a long time ago, but still, we're going to give them a little bit of credit for that. So definitely give me the Florida Gators here at -2.5. I think this is a very reasonable play. Last but not least, guys, we're looking at the Houston Cougars taking on the Duke Blue Devils, another matchup of number 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament. Houston had a pretty tough road to get to this Final Four, guys. Obviously, a cupcake matchup in the opening round, but then they played a very tough 81-76 game there against Gonzaga. Then they faced the 4-seed Purdue, got a 2-point win in that one before comfortably handling business there against number 2 Tennessee. That was wild stuff, guys. We saw Houston allow Tennessee to score only 15 points in the first half of this game. Crazy stuff there. Especially, you're holding a guy like Chaz Lanier to only 4 of 18 from the field, 2 of 12 from three-point range. Like, bonkers stuff there from Houston. I mean, the Cougars, obviously an insane defensive team. That's been their calling card all season long. They ran roughshod, guys. Roughshod, going 19-1 through the Big 12 this season. Crazy work there. That's not something you see very often. This Cougars team, absolutely elite defensively, very good on the offensive end too. Like, they can crash the boards. They do everything you need them to do. And the more rough and tumble the game is, the better they like it. Now, we'll see how that goes for them in this matchup against a team that you might not be allowed to play so rough and tumble against in the Duke Blue Devils. Duke comes in this game 35-3 on the season. They're fresh off of a win against Alabama where they dominated. And Duke's been pretty dominant in this tournament in general. I mean, blowing out their opening round opponent, blowing out Baylor in the second round, beating Arizona 100-93 in the third round, but that game wasn't really as close as that final score would indicate, and they demolished Alabama 85-65 there to make it to the Final Four. So And what we're seeing from Duke, Brown, not going to be at 100%, but he's going to be out there for this one, apparently. In that win over Alabama, Duke was obviously just dominant. They're going to have probably the best player on the court. Actually, no, not probably. They're going to have the best player on the court in this game in Cooper Flagg. That's pretty helpful. They've been a top 10 offense and one of the best defenses in all of the NCAA basketball ranks for this entire season. So loving what we're seeing from Duke. They are 5.5-point favorites in this game, though, guys. That seems like a little bit much to me. We've got a total of 136.5. Houston, 20-17-1 against the spread, 4-6-1 against the spread on a neutral court, 22-15-1 to the under. Duke, 25-13 against the spread, 5-5 against the spread on a neutral court, and 20-18 to the over. I'm not interested in that total of 136.5. I would maybe even lean towards the over there, but I think we're going to be on Houston getting 5.5 in this game. To be honest, it doesn't feel great to me. This isn't one that I have a huge lean on, but I just can't imagine Duke getting a blowout win here against a team that's as tough and physical as Houston unless the refs really take control of this game in a crazy, crazy way. So give me Houston getting 5.5 here, but this one not going anywhere near the pinned comment. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. I'm more than happy to get back to you. Thanks for watching. Make sure to click the link in the description to get over to stumpthespread.com. That's where you can see all of our premium plays from our full-time Major League Baseball capper over there at stumpthespread.com, who is not me, it's somebody else. And we will see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.